All right, conspiracy theory time. And as usual, I am arriving at this issue fashionably late. Although I will admit that I don't know if this even qualifies as an actual issue. This is a relatively unimportant story about Joe Biden possibly faking a public appearance. For a lot of people, this will be a complete and total waste of time, and I can't blame anyone for thinking that way. Yeah, I've got to be honest with you. This is not something that I am deeply invested in. So why would I make a video about it? Well, I can help out anyone who is on the conspiracy theory side of this, and I can help out anyone who doesn't understand the conspiracy theory. Some people fall into both categories at once. First, I guess I'd better show you the footage in question.
Not at the moment.
Right there, the hand and the microphone. Seeing that strange little phenomenon, a lot of people wondered if this was something that actually happened. It looks like this might be trick photography. It looks like maybe Papa Joe and his team staged this event. Could they really do that? Well, yes. Trick photography does exist. Would they really do that, though? Oh, there are many people who openly state their doubts that this footage is real. There are people who actually think that the current administration might stage a phony press event.
That is totally absurd. And vulgar.
Such a thing surely couldn't happen. Wouldn't happen. Call in the Debunkers. Okay, I'm going to leave this on screen up top. My opinion meter. On one side it says, the appearance was real. On the other side it will say, the appearance was fake. And I will begin with the needle directly in the middle, not knowing one way or the other if this was trick photography or not. Did Biden really speak to these reporters? Or was his appearance somehow faked? Staged? It does look pretty weird, but is it really phony? Well, anyone with a skeptical kind of mind will doubt that it's faked. There's more than one reason to doubt that it is faked, but I'll start with this one.
But so, this is what I don't understand. Why? Why?
And it didn't. The interview itself wasn't making him look good. So why would you green screen something that made him look bad anyway?
Why would they do this? Well, that's easy. Do you see a lot of Biden press conferences? No, you don't. Can you imagine being a reporter in the White House press corps during the Biden administration? Part of the reporter's ennui is from the circle back dance. But another big part of it is the absence of the president. Where is he? Why isn't he talking to the press? Why isn't he talking to the public? He isn't completely invisible, but as presidents go, he is not in the spotlight very much. Why? Well, that's anyone's guess, but there are concerns about the president's health. We know for a fact that the man has had aneurysms. And to be as polite as possible about it, his verbal skills have declined noticeably. So, could that have anything to do with the lack of public appearances? That is not far-fetched at all. Could something have happened that would have made Papa Joe unable to give a coherent performance at a media briefing? Could it even be that the man just has good days and bad days, but too many bad days have happened since the election? Could those close to him find him too unreliable to put in the public eye? That is perfectly plausible. The problem the White House faces, though, is the president's absence. They can't just let Papa Joe hide the entire time he's in office. A president has to make public appearances and has to answer questions from the media. If you're not sure he can handle the real thing, then why not set up a phony appearance? So there's the motive. I'm sure I could come up with other theories, but that's the most likely one. The why would they do it angle is answered, and with a plausible motive. With that plausible motive, the opinion meter moves. Not much, but it moves. Next comes the question of how? Was it a green screen? No, it was not. If you try to convince me that Biden was walking in front of a green screen, then the meter would have to shoot the other way. But if it was faked, that would not be how. Suppose you were in that position. If you worked in the White House and you had to dummy up a phony press appearance, how would you do it? I presume that most presidents actually practice and rehearse their media conversations. And someone like Papa Joe, a man who has trouble remembering sentences, he would practice even more than the average president, I think. And there you have the tools for the fake. If they have recorded any of Joe's media practice, then all they would have to do to make it look real would be to add in some microphones. So it's not that Joe is doing this in front of a green screen. If it is phony, then he really is where he appears to be. But the microphones and the reporters are added to the shot. And the answers that Joe gives are simple enough to be added in after the fact, if that's what you want to do.
Do you have any plans to travel to the southern border, sir? Not at the moment.
Have you decided when you're able to share thoughts with other countries? Is it allies or neighbors first? Who will be the first country to get U.S. vaccines?
I've been talking with several countries already. Well, I'll let you know that very shortly.
The fact that Papa Joe is wearing a mask makes it possible to add in lines from various practices that are appropriate. And filling in the gaps with questions of proper length, well, that wouldn't be hard. I could do that. So it is possible, I would say even plausible, for this to be faked. There is the means and the motive for it. Okay, we have the scenario. Now enter the debunkers. The fact checkers and debunkers will roll their eyes at you for even considering the possibility of a phony Biden appearance.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
Fortunately for us, there are experts who have examined this footage. They have taken the time to analyze this scene in depth, applying their well-developed skills.
Sounds like you got way too much time on your hands.
The problem is, this really does look very odd. And I'm not the kind of guy who will readily set aside the evidence of his own eyes just because an expert tells me that I didn't see anything.
There's a very simple explanation for all this, but I can't think what it is.
Here is Captain Disillusion debunking it on Twitter. Here, weirdos asking me about that video, I drew you a diagram. Oh, bang up job there. You really cleared it up. Very convincing. And anyway, when it comes to professional debunkers like that, I typically take their judgment with a grain of salt. Because if you are a debunker, then you have to find debunkables to debunk and then prove them debunked, or else you're not a very good debunker. I don't really trust the perspectives of those who are always looking to disprove things. So, from USA Today, fact check. Video of Biden with reporters on White House lawn is unaltered. We've seen conspiracy theories like these pop up frequently by people who are unaware of how video is compressed. Ah, right. The video was compressed in a way that made it look funky. So says the expert. And he has to be right and honest, because he's an expert. There are several other media outlets that covered the same event, but from different angles. They have published videos showing President Biden at the same place and time doing and saying the same thing. Okay, whoa, hold up. That does not prove that the images are not faked. It only shows us that a lot of effort would have been put into it. Because if it doesn't look right, then it doesn't look right. Anyway, continuing. This includes the print media that have published images of the president at the same place and time, and there is no compression in those still images. This next part kills me. People with nefarious agendas will use that misunderstanding to allege manipulation. No. Sorry, asshole. It's not a nefarious agenda. It was something that looked so strange that it made reasonable people ask the question. From PolitiFact, while the clip that's being shared on social media may look odd, it's not a hoax. It's an optical illusion. We rate the claim that Biden faked this interview with reporters in front of a green screen pants on fire. The trouble with these fact checks and debunkers is that they have not proved that it was real. They have demonstrated that it could be real even though it looks funny. Another problem I have with them is the smugness of it. Weirdos. People with nefarious agendas. And it's rated pants on fire. But if you are admitting that there is video compression and an optical illusion, then you are admitting that it looks weird. That means people have a reason to question it. They are not nefarious weirdos with flaming pants. They are people who trust their own eyes. Here's the video from two angles, by the way. It does not convince me one way or the other about this being faked. The microphone is to Joe's side in the other angle, but the proportions of the microphone in the two different angles still look very strange to me. I've watched it real close, and I can't see that either the conspiracy theorists or the debunkers have a real slam dunk case. You know what would pretty well convince me? Eyewitness testimony. If the people who were there were to say so, then it would make a big difference. A much bigger difference than some expert or debunker telling me not to trust my own eyes. And we do have eyewitness testimony. I had to go through more than 3 fact checks before I found it. It's not hard to find, but you would think that that would be the thing they would lead with. Steve Herman. I was the one holding the lighter-colored fuzzy microphone, and thus literally in front of the potato. Sorry, POTUS, he said. He said POTUS. POTUS on the south lawn. It's all real. Then he goes on being a smug jerk about it too. But with that, whether I like it or not, whether or not I find the fact-checkers to be smug assholes or not, I am pretty well convinced that this was not staged at all. Not entirely convinced, but mostly convinced. Not that it matters much to me. Whether he fakes interviews or not, I find Joe Biden to be an absolute embarrassment to the nation. However, I am not going to assume that every single conspiracy theory put forth about the man and his administration is automatically true. So there you have it, where my opinion lies in the end, and why I considered the conspiracy theory very seriously instead of just setting it aside. And to finish this up, apropos of nothing, I have here some staged footage of Hunter Biden, the president's son. There is no need to fact-check this. I freely admit that this is not real. It does look convincing. But this is not really Hunter Biden that you're about to see.
Daddy! Daddy!
Guess I'm still trying to make my old man proud of me.